Hello, and welcome to the New York State Council on the Arts Architecture and Design Program Guideline Summary for fiscal year 2021. I'm Kristen Herron, the Program Director for Architecture and Design. Design is everywhere, from the Montauk Lighthouse to Buffalo's Olmsted Parks, from Manhattan's skyscrapers to Adirondack camps, from Russell Wright tableware to Willie Smith's fashion. At its best, design impacts our quality of life and serves the public good. To support excellence in design and recognizing design as an art form, NYSCA's Architecture and Design Program welcomes applications from organizations and individuals. The program encourages innovation in the design arts, preservation and interpretation of New York State's architectural and design heritage, and the development of design literacy for all New Yorkers. Prerequisites for this program include the following. The program supports architecture and design generally, but this is primarily programmatic work in the fields of architecture, landscape architecture, historic preservation, community-centered design, graphic, fashion, industrial, and interior design. Applicants may make one request to the Architecture and Design Program unless you are an organization sponsoring an applicant to our independent projects category. In that case, you may sponsor as many individuals as you choose. Here are the key dates for the next few months. The deadline to apply is March 12th at 4 p.m. I'm going to say that again. It's March 12th at 4 p.m. There are no extensions. I cannot change the date or the time. I highly encourage you to mark this down and plan to apply well before 4 p.m. on March 12th. In the past year, the Architecture and Design Program awarded approximately $1.1 million across 16 counties and 9 of New York State's 10 Regional Economic Development Council regions. There were 45 grants to organizations and artists. There are 4 categories in the Architecture and Design Program. The first 2 are for institutions, project support, and general operating support. The third one, independent projects, are for individuals who must be sponsored by an eligible nonprofit. And the last is an invitation-only category, our Regrants and Partnerships program, which includes the Preserve New York grants, which are managed on NYSCA's behalf by the Preservation League of New York State. I want to start with some tips for applying to the program. And this applies whether you are an organization seeking support or an individual seeking support. Please read the guidelines carefully. As obvious as this seems, I guarantee you that many people do not do it. There are updates every year, and in particular, there have been a number of updates this year. So again, read the guidelines carefully. Please make sure that your request is focused on the design arts. We recognize these fields as artistic at NYSCA, but this is not a program that supports capital efforts. We have another program for that. So make sure you're about the design arts. Please avoid jargon and superlatives. They do not help your case. Ask questions. I'm here to respond, so please always feel free to reach out to me, and I will do my best to answer your question. When you're in the NYSCA CFA, there are formatting tools that can help make your text easier to read, like bold. You can choose your font size. I really encourage you to do that. It helps everyone in being able to more carefully read your application when formatting is used. Again, I mentioned it before, consider submitting early. Please don't wait until the last day to apply. Again, there are no extensions. When the system closes at 4 p.m., it's closed. My tip is always to tell yourself the deadline's a few days earlier and try to get your application in that. And after the whole process has gone through, please follow up with me. Whether your request has been funded or not, email me and we will schedule a phone call to go over the feedback so that you can hear strengths and weaknesses of your request, and hopefully it will help you as you move forward. There are a number of frequently asked questions. I've picked 4 here. The first 2 focus on our organizational categories, and the latter 2 on our independent projects, the individual artist category. So I've alluded to this already. The architecture and design program does not support restoration or preservation of buildings or landscapes. I'm going to say that one again. The program does not support the restoration or preservation of buildings or landscapes. The architecture and design program is a programmatic-based program here at NYSCA. It is focused on public programming, exhibitions, education programs, workshops. It is not focused on capital efforts. For that, I encourage you to look to the facilities project program. A popular question is whether an organization can apply for both general operating support and project support in the architecture and design program. Unfortunately, this is not an option. An organization may choose one or the other. But please remember that should it be relevant, your organization may submit a second request to a different program at the New York State Council on the Arts if it is appropriate to the work you do. If you have questions about whether you should apply for GOS or project support, always reach out to me and we can talk about it. Switching to the independent projects category, the category for which a nonprofit sponsors an individual whose project they seeks to expand their design field and take us to a new level of understanding or exploration of one of the design arts. So can any organization sponsor an individual? Absolutely. If you are an eligible nonprofit to the New York State Council on the Arts, you may sponsor one or more individuals in the independent projects category. It's considered exempt, which means it is not counted against the number of requests that your organization may submit. But do remember, independent projects are not organizational grants. The sponsor should not be applying through this for another project. It is simply a fiscal conduit for the individual to be able to apply for their efforts. And another popular question related to independent projects is how competitive it is. It is the most competitive category here at NYSCA, and for this coming year, we intend to fund at least 10 applicants in this category. Again, some tips. These are focused on the NYSCA CFA platform. Please be prepared. You should always review the steps in advance, and there's a hot link in this presentation, and you can go to our website to find those steps. For those of you applying in the independent projects category, a change this year is that it is listed as if it is a separate program at NYSCA. So in the NYSCA CFA, please look for architecture and design independent projects. We have separated it out so that we can customize further the very different way that individuals apply to this program. Choose your characters wisely. The character counts that you see are a maximum, and they do include spaces. Tell your story with details, but please don't repeat just to fill up the space. If you do not feel you need to use a full character count for a question because you have thoroughly shared with us the information we need to know, that is perfectly fine. Do you feel like maybe you don't have enough space, that the character count is too small for everything you need to say? I'm going to encourage you to do the following. Reread the question, and as a sidebar, take a look at the scoring tips, which gives you some additional information about what we're really looking for in the question. Another way to save some characters is to get rid of the passive voice. That takes up unnecessary characters. And perhaps the most useful at all, ask someone else who is not writing this application, that is not me, to read it and suggest edits to you. Not on this PowerPoint, but a tip is to read it to yourself out loud. Often if you read something out loud, you're going to catch the repetition that is unnecessary or figure out a way to shorten the words. Use all your options. We indicate that budget notes are optional, but I'm going to tell you they're really important. It's the only way we can really understand how you identify budget lines. So please don't skip them. Make sure you upload support materials. Each category has different requirements. It is all in the guidelines on arts.ny.gov. So it's critical to make sure that the necessary materials are uploaded, but do not upload anything that we do not ask for. And I'm going to say it again, the third time, beat the deadline. There are no exceptions to the deadline. Submit before March 12th, and I guarantee you, you will have less stress in your life. Any questions? This is me, Kristen Herron. I'm the Program Director for Architecture and Design. It's best to start by emailing me. I will get back to you and we can schedule a phone call if necessary. The closer it gets to the deadline, the harder it's going to be to reach me. Thanks so much and good luck.